is delaying the process of Jennifer being a landed immigrant is your side's fault. It's the government side's fault, not ours. They took her to their office. 2 girls from the border authority came, picked her up, drove her down to the border at Thousand Islands, across the bridge, gave her to the American border guard. He said, I can't take her unless you have some kind of court document. He said, you're bringing me a woman in her slippers with work clothes on and no money, and you're telling me that she's an American and you're deporting her, but that's not the way the system works. They drove off, leaving her there. The guy sent her to a kind of halfway house or something like that in Watertown. And the guy over there said, you can't do that. You got to take her back to the Canadian border and tell them that they got to do things in the proper manner. And that's what they did. They brought her back to Canada. And the guys, the girls at the border waited until the end of the shift, and then they tried it again. And the guy on the other side said, no friggin' way, you can't bring her in here. So she ended up yesterday in a prison in Ottawa. And I got a message from a lawyer saying that she would be heard in court on Monday at 2:30. Then I get a call from Jennifer, and she says, they told me 2 o'clock, which basically means you'd get there when we're already finished. But she says, since I arrived here, I found out that they don't bring people here unless they plan on putting them on an airplane and shipping them out. And who knows where I would land, in California or what, I don't know. So she said, I'll call you tomorrow morning, which is this morning at 9 o'clock. I have not yet received a call. I had left 2 messages with an embassy, with the U.S. Embassy. Just got a call a few minutes ago from a guy really obnoxious, saying, if you've got a legal problem, get a lawyer. I said, all I want you to know is how an American citizen who has done nothing wrong and is married to a Canadian, me, and is waiting for the government to do their thing, is being lugged around by people who want her left in the U.S. with no socks, no underwear, no money, no nothing. And I want to find out what you guys will do to help an American citizen. And he said, I'll let you know. And he hung up.
Wow.
It's infuriating, Glenn.
Yeah, Jared here.
Yeah. It's so now I have no idea where she is. I know she has no money, and even if she asked me, we spent our last $100 last week on groceries, and we don't get paid till next Thursday, our poverty allowance, because they don't give her anything. We've had to live for 2.5 years on basically one poverty allowance. So the 2 of us, after she ran out of money in the U.S. in Ogdensburg, and the only way she could get in was by applying for refugee status. She doesn't want to be a refugee. She wants to be a citizen and have the same rights as anybody else. They deny her the right to work. And we're talking here about a woman who ran a 99-bed lockdown facility for people with Alzheimer's. And the Minister of Public Health made a public announcement on the radio saying, there is one thing Canada needs more than anything else as immigrants, someone with administrative knowledge to help us set up an Alzheimer system for care of the elderly across Canada. So, I mean, you're getting one side doesn't want to hear anything. The U.S. side looks like they're not interested in helping an American citizen. And the minister saying that's what we need more than anything else. Exactly the definition of Jennifer's role is what the minister was saying was needed in Canada. And now she's like a streetwalker with no money someplace.
Because they don't want to fund your side, that's why, you know?
They don't want her in a court of law explaining to a judge how Tom died.
Yeah.
They don't want her in a court of law explaining why she was not allowed to come to Canada under normal circumstances when the Minister of Public Safety had raped her in her youth. And it's not the Prime Minister's office that's stopping it. It's the people on the ground. These people do not allow immigrants in based on what they can do to help Canada. They are a group unto themselves. They are known as sleeper cells. Most are brought in as children, and through human relations departments, they are positioned on the front line, and decisions about allowing or disallowing people from becoming citizens in Canada are in their hands at that level. And if they don't have the right gene pool, being nasty fascists, they don't let them in. If the minister is saying, don't let them in because I raped her and she talked, they don't let her in. If the OPP won't investigate a death of Tom at the hospital, they have good reason to try and get her out of the country so she's not able to testify. That's the world we're living in these days. I don't know what it's going to take, but the cell has repeated that the system that exists today in both Canada and the United States is what is known as bureaucratic. And bureau, B stands for women. U-R is the phonetic you are. O-E-A-U is water, and water is the mode of transmission. Rat. A rat a cave did the original investigation of that cave. Anything a rat could not reach in a cave, it grew wings and became a bat, which allowed it to jump from one place to another. That's why in baseball, the guy with the stick that hits the ball is called a bat and a batter. And the ball tries to reach the fence, the other side, to make a home run, or at least find little islands of safety along the way where the jump is not quite as long. That's the code of the game of baseball, which basically in Arabian language, base is Al-Qaeda. That's how a cave was explored. Once the cave was explored by the cat, by the bat, and the rat, it became a cat. And the cat walked out and visited the outside area and came back to eat and sleep in the cave. That's why we have houses today. It's basically our caves. But a cat has one tendency that other animals don't have. And that tendency is to grab other cats' babies and drag them into the cave and raise them as their own. If the babies are not being tended to by another cat, they snatch them. Okay? Now, think back in time and say there are no human beings on the planet. And like trees, and like rats and bats and cats, they have no way of being born except by chance. But because billions of years have gone by, the chance of all the chemical elements finding themselves together to make a child happened. And a child was born, but a child would die within a matter of days because it has no food. But along comes a lioness, a big cat, sees a baby. The cat would pick up the baby and take it home and feed it along with its other animals, other cats. That means, like in the movie Tarzan, who used the ape and the human being raised by an ape, in fact, in reality, it was a cat. So the symbol of the Royal Bank of Canada is a big cat with its paws around the earth, a lioness. The same kind of image as one would get on a sphinx, the face of a feminine cat on the sphinx next to the three pyramids. But what are the three pyramids equivalent on the crest of the Royal Bank of Canada? RBC. Rats, bats, cats. Royal Bank, Canada. Big lion hanging on. What happened to the lion this month? An American dentist is being accused of killing the lion called Cecil. How close is Cecil to the gang of terrorists called Cesis by some, and Cecil or something like that by others. And what we're being told right now is the evolution of human beings from cat on has come to an end. And the cat that was in Africa is dead. And therefore, there has to be a change. Why is it that the U.S. Army has installed just where they took Jennifer, Watertown, there, New York, a military base called Mountain Division? Where is the mountain that these soldiers can be part of? A mountain division. Well, it's the Canadian Shield. It hasn't yet risen to the point of being over and above the existing ground, and is scheduled to do so as soon as the Sioux puts water on the land. And what is a woman wearing pants called in the animal world? A panther. A big cat. Black cat. So we can expect that with the Sioux and the rising of the Canadian Shield and the liquefaction of the earth on the American side, that the U.S. military will climb the mountain on its way to Ottawa to establish a new base. And you think you got problems.
Got a hurricane coming too, right, Danny?
Yeah. Jennifer, Tom, isolating me on the farm, threatening to come and pick up stuff in our front field so that a charge can be added to the taxes, disagreeing that I'm an owner as the manager and president of the Canadian Institute for Political Integrity. My role is to manage the assets, when they get any, of the Canadian Institute for Political Integrity. The only reason there is no legal, quote-unquote, transfer so far is they're hiding the person that didn't pay her taxes, Lynn, and that I and Tom had to pay her taxes for the last 2.5 years, 3 years, maybe even longer for all I know. We've been here, 15 years now, and Lynn stopped having anything to do with taxes at least 2 or 3 years before I got married, 5 years ago. And as soon as I got married, she had nothing to do with the place and can't be found. And her husband, David, told me on the telephone that if he didn't agree to do the things she wants done, she would have him killed.
Wow.
And she said to him, according to David, she said, and you know that I can do it. In other words, he has prior knowledge of her doing that to somebody. And he was afraid. And I haven't heard from him. for years now. Is he alive? Is she alive? They don't answer their phone number. There was word out to Megan that they were getting a divorce. Is that what happened? Or did she kill him?
Wow.
And I'm repeating all of these things because I'm certain that other people are listening in. And you guys can put it on the net.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
So is she
They
down
are
there?
so afraid that this place will become what I've said from the beginning. And that's a port of departure, a place from which the people who have been chosen will leave this universe in order to obtain position in a new universe called what we call a fifth dimension. This place being a four-dimensional universe, that place having a fifth dimension. What that fifth dimension is, you have to wait to find out when you get there. But what is required here is apparently there is going to be a problem in Europe that will destroy Jerusalem. And this area, known as Valhalla in Nordic mystery religions, if you want to call it that, this area of the farm is for the temple, where the people will come and be prepared for the journey. The journey is to join the 7 billion souls who are waiting at the border for the leadership to arrive, and they can then move to the fifth dimension. The leadership leaving here will be guided by the cell to what is the holding place, and then creation will allow the transfer to the fifth dimension. Leaving a group of people behind to manage this site for those who are not interested in making the journey. Some people may not want to go to heaven. But in the religious language, the core of the earth is hell. The surface of the earth is heaven. And the purgatory, the decision-making place, is in between the two, below the plates of the earth, above the mantle that covers the entire core. That's how they interpreted the system. However, creation has a different system than God, who just copies and does genetic engineering instead of creation. And the system is, this surface is purgatory. Hell is below the mantle, and heaven is the fifth dimension.
Makes more sense.
Nobody would want to have the surface of the earth compared to perfection, because it sure is not. It's a place where people prove themselves as to which side they're on, and have an opportunity to make up for the things they've done wrong in the past, so that they can get beyond the pineal court and be allowed to join the journey to, quote unquote, the real heaven. That's where we're at, my friends. We're waiting for creation to say, enough is enough. And let's get on with the new cleansing. Noah's Ark cleaned out the gene pool of the time, and God manufactured different gene pools for different regions of the planet, because gods are nuns. And the main group of nuns is from Germany, and they were known as the Blue Nuns, Blue Bonnets. But when they moved to Israel and set up the religious thing over there, they became Carmelites, because apparently in the area of southern Syria and Lebanon and Israel, where it comes together, are the Carmelite Mountains. My first wife was Carmen. My name is Glen. If you take the name of the genetic engineer in the Bible from the time of Jesus, the genetic engineer's name was Mary Magdalene. Take the G in Magdalene and move it down a few spaces and put it in front of the L. What have you got now? Mary made Glen. England. E-N-G-L-A-N-D. Glen DNA. In French, Angleterre. Angle. A-N-G-E-L or L-E. What was Jennifer's maiden name? Nagel. N-A-G-L-E. Terre, earth. A-N-G-L-E. Angel. Angel Earth is here. They know it, and they're trying everything they can to prevent it from coming about. Crooks don't want good slaves leaving. Because the bad slaves are tough to handle. And good slaves did what good slaves were asked to do until they found out that there was an other interpretation of the Bible and of the English language. We're at the end times, and that doesn't mean I know it's today, tomorrow, or the next day that the change will come, but I do know it's the window open in 2008 was supposed to begin in 2011, and the window has not yet closed. And when's the window going to close? The longest date I can attach to it is 2062. The more likely date I can attach to it is anytime soon. This morning on the news, they announced that Cecil in Syria had destroyed a temple in Syria that was built in 17 AD. They went inside and ravaged the place, and the columns collapsed. That's the exact words they used. CC. Column collapse, like colony collapse for bees. The guy from the city hall wants me to cut the grass in the front field on a farm 15 miles out of town. And what happens when you cut grass? You get beehive colony collapse because flowers don't grow anymore. You keep running over with your lawnmower, the flowers aren't there, the bees have nothing to collect. As soon as you let the grass grow, the wildflowers grow between them, and I sit there on a chair watching the bees collecting the pollen. But bureaucrats are interested only in one thing: career, salary, bonuses, bribes, so that in the end, pension without work is what they're looking for. And they will do anything at the expense of anybody else in order to make that journey happen for them. Pension. They are the rats of the office. Bureau means office in French.
Create tension to collect a pension.
Yeah. In any event, I'm going to have to let you go. I shouldn't have spoken this long because if Jennifer is trying to get through, I won't know.
Yeah, it sounded like you had another call.
Hey?
I don't know if the phone is ringing.
All right. You said it sounded like you had another call at one point.
Oh, okay. Talk to you guys. Just hang tough and do what you can to be on creation's side.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
All right.